This is News 8 Now, this morning.
He believes our country's political polarization is causing people to develop a level of cynicism.
But it's not just politics, because what's happening is it's resulting in a breakdown in trust.
Keeping your walkways clear of objects that could potentially cause you to trip is very important.
I just hope I can be as great as the other Mrs. O's.
The problem is when you are not screened and then you find a very aggressive prostate cancer that is still localized or it has already metastasized, in which case the chance of controlling the cancer, curing you and saving your life are much lower.
The Green Bay Packers were down in Tampa Bay yesterday for their third game of the season. It was Rodgers versus Brady, a matchup that doesn't get to happen too often, and as you would expect, it came down to the wire.
Gresham steps away, throwing tip, incomplete. The Packers are going to win it.
Well, happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Victory Monday, right? For all you Packer fans out there, I doubt there's probably any Dolphin fans besides me. Maybe there is, I don't know. But hey, it was a fun weekend of football.
It was. I imagine we're going to have a productive Monday at work across the region.
Yeah.
With those victories. And I got a chance on Sunday to have some therapy after that Badger loss to Ohio State. You know, I enjoyed the fumble Ohio State had in the opening kickoff, and then 8 seconds later I changed the channel. So.
There you go. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Well, hey, it was fun, and hey, our weather is looking a little bit cool out there to start us off this morning, Jordan, so you might want to bring the jacket with you, maybe just a little bit. But let's take a look at those temperatures here, why don't we? And you can see 52 is the temperature right now in La Crosse, but some areas are in the 40s. It's 46 currently in Eau Claire, and we got 50 degrees currently in Winona. Highs, or current temperatures, I should say, at Sparta at 48 degrees. City Cam 8's looking quiet as to start us off this morning. Maybe a couple of clouds here and there on our satellite and radar picture, and we do expect this actually to kind of fill in here just a little bit today. Not expecting complete overcast skies by any means all day long, but maybe just a couple of hours here between around 11 o'clock and 1, and perhaps even lasting into around 3 o'clock in the day as well. You'll notice temperatures will be well into the 60s here this afternoon under those cool and partly cloudy conditions, with a little bit of a breeze here to work with throughout the day as well. As far as your allergy report here for today, it's low for ragweed and weeds. Mold, though, is still high. Tomorrow, same forecast is in store, but stay tuned. I'll be back with your schoolcast in just a bit. Jordan?
Thanks a lot for the update, Derek. Almost 30% of Americans say political polarization is a top issue facing this nation. That is according to the website 538. News 8 Now's Rob Romano spoke to the founder of a nonprofit that seeks to break down political barriers.
Dr. Lee Raj is the founder of the nonprofit known as Leader Ethics. He believes our country's political polarization is causing people to develop a level of cynicism.
But it's not just politics, because what's happening is it's resulting in a breakdown in trust. Trust in other citizens, trust in our institutions.
Raj's organization seeks to restore trust by advocating for politicians to be truthful, for them to be transparent with public information, and unifiers rather than dividers.
And to the best of their ability, they work to represent their entire constituency.
Raj is the former president of Western Technical College, which he ran for 28 years. He adds that in the fields of business, education, or healthcare, ethical leadership qualities are required. Now, the organization he founded, which seeks to overcome the partisan divide, asks the following question.
Why not in politics?
And sure thing, why not? How come our political system can't seem to find a way to breach its divides and attract the best people to public office? Political expert Dr. Joe Heim says our society has been slowly disintegrating in terms of being cynical.
The effect of that is it's added to the cynicism about our basic element of a democracy, and that's elections.
Heim says one of the reasons why political cynicism is on the rise is because politicians use it to win elections.
Some of it has to do with the psychology of voting. If you want to rev up your base and get them out in support of your candidates, happiness is second to cynicism and anger.
The Pew Research Center says voter turnout during the 2020 election was 7 points higher than in 2016. The Republican candidate for Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district says his experience as a small business owner makes him uniquely qualified for the job. During a small business roundtable, Derek Van Orden said local employers face too many challenges. Van Orden says rising inflation is crippling some small businesses. The Republican says that his experience with ownership will help him write business-friendly policies. Republican candidate for Wisconsin's governor, Tim Michels, is changing his position on Wisconsin's abortion law. On Friday, Michels said if it came to his desk as governor, he would sign an abortion ban with exceptions for rape and incest. Previously, Michels said he would not support exceptions. Area artists took their brushes to the Bluffs at a quick paint competition. The Plein Air Painters set up on Grandad Bluff over the weekend, where they got 2 hours to paint the landscape. This is part of the Between the Bluffs Plein Air Art Show. Organizers say 2 hours is a quick session, but these artists are experts at capturing what they see on canvas.
It's a pretty fun event, but it also takes a high level of skill to complete a painting in that length of time. You'd be surprised at how professional the paintings look in that time period.
We've got some good artists in this community. If you would like to see these paintings and more, they are on display at Studio Gallery 1311 on Market Street. We have hours where you can view those at news8000.com. This morning, an update from Oktoberfest leaders. The medallion has been found. The couple, Kevin and Hannah, found the medallion around 9:30 on Saturday morning. The couple wins Oktoberfest merchandise, a miniature replica of the medallion, and a cash prize. Oktoberfest kicks off officially on Thursday with a craft beer night and the Torchlight Parade. We now know who is taking the title of Mrs. Oktoberfest 2022. Sandra Cleary has been announced as this year's Mrs. O, and it's all in the family. Cleary comes from a line of Oktoberfest royalty. Her grandfather and father were both festmasters years ago. She loves to be part of the festivities and is excited for the collaborations to come.
I just hope I can be as great as the other Mrs. O's. There's some amazing women that go before me.
Cleary was brought up volunteering and is very involved in the community. Her volunteer efforts include working with Scouts, the Boys and Girls Club, the UWL Foundation, and the Lacrosse Park Board. Cleary's button theme is Unity in the Community. She is hoping to highlight the work everyone puts in to make Oktoberfest happen. For the first time since the start of the pandemic, the Hmong community gathers to celebrate their new year.
It is an event that we celebrate after the harvest season, and it's to give thanks for the season.
Organizers say the crowd on Saturday was much larger than expected, but they are glad to get together to celebrate. The festival had live music and dance, along with lots of traditional food that is hard to find at other times of the year. Another aspect of the celebration, vibrant cultural clothing.
It's just an event that we enjoy every year. Again, you know, I've been collecting my outfits for the last couple of years, not able to wear it, but everybody does want to come out and enjoy it, wear their beautiful outfits that they have.
Organizers look forward to many more New Year celebrations to come. With the end of Falls Prevention Week, it is still important to know falls are preventable. Falls are the leading cause of death from unintentional injuries in older adults. Nearly 1 in 3 seniors have a fall each year. To prevent falls, health experts in the community recommend keeping your floor clear of objects like clothing, shoes, or rugs.
Keeping your walkways clear of objects that could potentially cause you to trip is very important. Obviously, a lot of people will fall at night when the lights are off, so turning the lights on before you start moving around is a good option.
Dr. Cates also recommends asking a primary care provider for physical therapy if you feel like you're losing your balance. September is National Atrial Fibrillation Awareness Month, otherwise known as AFib, and Mayo Clinic Health System is highlighting a relatively new procedure to reduce the risk of stroke in patients who have AFib. During AFib, the heart is beating irregularly, and there's an increased risk of blood clots inside the heart. If that clot breaks loose, there is a risk of stroke. The Watchman device is inserted into the heart and blocks off an area where those clots can form.
It's designed to plug off one of the structures called the left atrial appendage. Left atrial appendage is like a small sac attached to the left atrium. And that's where the atrial fibrillation usually comes from. And that's where the blood clots usually come from.
The device can be inserted during a same-day procedure and is not considered a high-risk surgery. Members of the community broke a sweat on the 17th annual American Cancer Society Soul Burner in Chaseburg. The 1-mile walk event brought in people from across the state. People could take the walk and enjoy the vendors, live music, and each other's company. The event was a chance for the community to celebrate survivors and honor those lost.
We have luminaries that line the path. They're in memory or in honor of folks that we've lost to cancer. And so you can walk along the path and remember and honor them.
This event was a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. DeGarmo says they had a goal to raise $120,000, but hit $127,000 instead. Still to come on your Monday morning news, the next possible shortage could be beer. We'll explain why brewers could be in for a long ride ahead. And heating your home this winter could cost you more than you think. We'll explain why. For now, we are sending you to break with something to put the good in your Monday morning. And when you think of Star Wars, it is hard not to imagine epic lightsaber fights like the ones you see on the big screen. However, Bladetoberfest gives people the opportunity to fight with lightsabers in real life. This is the second year of the tournament that was held in Wausau with 30 to 50 participants squaring off in combat similar to that of fencing. Regardless of skill level, the tournament aims to unite Star Wars fans together and practice their passions. I said this before, imagine being best Jedi in Wisconsin. What a great resume item. I'd certainly hire you. Your latest forecast is just ahead here on News 8 Now this morning. It is 11 after the hour. We'll be right back right after this.
KM8 looking nice and quiet with a little bit of cool temperature readings now across the Coulee region. 40s and 50s, 46 degrees in Eau Claire at the moment. High temperatures today should rise into the 60s. We're expecting La Crosse County to be well into those low 60s here today. 62 towards the west and Onalaska. Highs reaching 60 in Soldiers Grove and 57 in Viroqua today. Meanwhile, Stoddard reaching a high of 61 and 60 today in Melrose. 58, a little cooler here in Sparta, or towards Toma, I should say. 59 today for you. 58 today in Alma Center. Highs reaching 58 in Eau Claire and 57 degrees this afternoon. If you are in Stanley, looking at 56 today in Thorpe. Let's get a check now on your schoolcast. Looking at pretty cool conditions for the bus stop. Clear skies, 53 degrees. Lunch hour could get a little cloudy, 59 degrees, and mostly cloudy here by dismissal. Temperatures reaching 62.
Bad news for Brewers this morning, and not the baseball team. A beer shortage could be on the horizon. A shortage of aluminum cans and carbon dioxide could be the next supply chain issue to vex American consumers. Brewers are also pointing to rising prices of transportation and malted barley and hops that impacted their bottom lines. Beer prices are up 5% so far this year. Industry experts aren't sure that will necessarily result in shortages, but variety and selection could be limited. With fall temperatures in the air, Americans are bracing for higher home heating bills. Families are expected to pay an average of 17% more for home heat this coming season. Heating oil is expected to increase nearly 13% for an average cost of more than $2,100 for this winter. Electric heat is expected to see a 7% increase. The Biden administration is asking Congress for additional funding to help low-income families stay warm this winter season. America's iconic automobile brand Ford is unable to make deliveries of some of its best-selling vehicles. The delays come as the automaker does not have enough of those blue oval Ford brand badges that go on the front of the vehicle. Ford has delayed deliveries of a number of vehicles because they are awaiting for the blue oval badges that go on them. The company has tried some workarounds like using 3D printers to make the Ford sign. Supply chain issues like this one may account for some of the reasons why Ford's stock is down 41% in 2022. Football season is underway, of course, and this year fans are paying top dollar to party just in the parking lot. Costs for tailgating essentials have gone up, and so has getting to the game itself. CBS's Danya Backus caught up with a devoted Rams fan in Los Angeles.
Whose house? Rams house! Whose house? Rams house! Freddie Giannis has been tailgating at Rams games since the team's triumphant return to Los Angeles in 2016. His booster club brings the potluck to the parking lot.
Potato salad, salads, carne asada, hot links, hamburgers, tacos, name it, ribs, whatever it is, we bring. But this year, inflation is intercepting his wallet. Say if I was spending $60, now it's like $120, pretty much. A recent report from Wells Fargo found tailgating costs are up, from beer to brats, even propane to fire up the grill.
Certain proteins like chicken and beef up pretty substantially, snack-like items, buns, pickles, all kinds of stuff like that you need for game day.
Getting there costs more too. Gas is about 50 cents more a gallon compared to last year. And flights up a whopping 34%.
Rising prices don't necessarily have to sack all the fun. There are ways to save on game day.
Take the subway, take the bus if you can, rather than driving or flying.
Take a look at your food spread and try substituting less expensive items, like pork ribs, up only 2.3%, or fresh vegetables, up 7.6%. And of course, you can always armchair quarterback.
TV prices are actually down relative to a year ago.
Giannis and his club all pitch in.
We waited years for the Rams to come back home, and every cent is well worth it.
And they have enough passion to go around.
Gotta have money to go to games these days. Experts say the most expensive thing at the game is still probably the ticket prices themselves.
Sure is a clear start this morning, but it is a little cool out there. Current temperature readings in La Crosse are at 52 degrees, a bit of a breeze to work with. Northwest winds at around 16 miles an hour. Luckily not really dealing with too much of a feel like or wind chill effect at the moment. Current temperatures as you head out the door everywhere else mainly are into those 40s and 50s. 46 in Sparta, same in Black River Falls, and the same temperature as well, even to the north in Eau Claire. 47 though in Viroqua. So a little bit of a cool morning to start. High temperatures today also looking fairly cool into those upper 50s to low 60s. Expecting highs today to reach 58 in Eau Claire, 62 today in La Crosse, 59 degrees today in Winona. A couple of scattered clouds as well as you head out the door, and we expect skies to kind of fill in here as far as those clouds go later today. And widening out the view, we're going to talk about the upper levels of the atmosphere here now for just a second. We're watching a pretty strong upper level jet pattern here just off to the west of us. This is expected to move east and build across the Coulee region, really the upper Midwest in general. And those strong upper level winds that you see may actually mix down to the surface to allow us to see somewhat breezy conditions today out of the northwest between around 15 to 20 miles an hour or so. Calmer winds tonight, and then the winds kind of pick up again as we head into tomorrow around 10 to 15. Not as breezy, but much calmer wind speeds though are in the forecast as we head into midweek once that system lifts out. 58 degrees with some cloudy conditions by noon today, and then by 4 looking mostly cloudy, 62 degrees, and then by 8 we can expect clear skies with temperatures at around 54 degrees. So as we head towards the late afternoon, you could see the showers and clouds mainly off towards the east of us. Could be looking at some clouds though by around the mid-afternoon hours. Heading into tonight, those skies should clear out, and we'll be looking clear. Heading into tomorrow, a couple of clouds here and there, but you can see the majority of the clouds and rain should be well off to the east. That is from an actual low pressure system that is going to be moving towards the east and away from us. And we should be looking at the western side of that system to allow us to see some clear skies as we head into tomorrow as that system clears out. High pressure though builds in for Wednesday by midweek, and that's going to give us some pretty nice sunshine to work with and warm up the temperatures here just a little bit as well. You can see that here, as a matter of fact, on the next 8 days. Highs warming up into those upper 60s to low 70s nearing the end of the work week, and looking at mainly sunny skies with temperatures well into the 70s here as we head into your weekend. And then by early next week, those clouds may begin to build up here yet again Monday and Tuesday. Highs still into the low 70s. And lows warming up into the 40s to low 50s. So overall, below average temperatures will continue here for a bit. Increasing clouds here early, followed by sunnier conditions for tomorrow. Stay with us though. Much more news and weather still to come right here on News 8 Now this morning. But for now, we're taking a quick break. Here's a look what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. Well, it sure is a nice cool morning to start us off here yet again across the Coulee region with temperatures mainly in the 40s and 50s. So you may need a light jacket here as you step outside the door. It's 46 degrees, as a matter of fact, in Eau Claire, and 52 in La Crosse, 46 in Sparta, and 50 degrees currently in Winona. Now, your dog walking forecast for the morning looks mainly sunny and cool. Cloudier skies, though, for the afternoon, and then by the evening, things could turn partly cloudy. Your mowing forecast this morning looks a little cool. Might want to wait at least till 11. Temperatures warm up to 57. Looking a little cloudy, though, from there until 3 o'clock. Temperatures by the afternoon reaching 62. I'll be back with your commute forecast plus your boating forecast in just a bit.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. The Green Bay Packers were down in Tampa Bay yesterday for their third game of the season. It was Rodgers versus Brady, a matchup that doesn't get to happen too often, and as you would expect, it came down to the wire. Rodgers has only beaten Brady once in his career. Brady, he's won the matchup 3 times. First quarter, Packers threatening. Rodgers hits Romeo Doubs, who muscles his way into the end zone for 6. PAT good, Packers lead 7-3. Second quarter, Rodgers hits Lazard on the slant route. He's in for 6. Rodgers would start the game 12 of 13 with 2 touchdowns. Packers lead 14-3. Buccaneers trying to answer a 3rd and 12. Brady looking, but Rashawn Gary brings him down for a huge sack to force a punt, and this defense was rolling. Packers in the red zone again. Rodgers finds Aaron Jones, but Jones is crunched up and coughs up the ball. The Buccaneers recover, and Jones took a big hit there. Second half, Rodgers looking, firing, but it's intercepted. Logan Ryan picks off Rodgers, and the Buccaneers take over, but this Packers defense hung tough until late in the 4th. Bucs down 8 and needing a score with just 20 seconds left. Brady, touchdown to Russell Gage, is there and holds on for the touchdown. They still needed a 2-point conversion, but it's broken up. Devondre Campbell is there. What a game out of him. The Packers get the win, 14-12. All right, and over to Minnesota. The Vikings were hosting the Lions at US Bank Stadium, and the fans were loud yesterday afternoon. Early in this one, Lions already with a 7-0 lead. And then Jared Goff hooks up with TJ Hawkinson to give Detroit a 14-0 lead. But there was a lot of game left. And on the next drive, it's Cousins finding Adam Thielen wide open for the score. That's Thielen's 50th career touchdown. What a day for him. Still in the first half, though, it's Dalvin Cook who gets the handoff. And he's going to stretch this one all the way to the pylon. He just gets in there for the score. And this one is tied up. Second half. Lions in the red zone, and DeAndre Swift takes the handoff, bounces outside, and gets in for the score. Lions up 10, but don't count out the Vikings. Cook would go down with an injury, but Alexander Mattison, he's going to fight his way into the end zone anyway. But the Vikings are still down 3 and need one more score. One last chance for the Vikings. Cousins scanning and finding KJ Osborne wide open. The Vikings take the lead, and they would hold on to get the comeback win, 28-24. That's all I have for the Morning Blitz. Have a fantastic Monday.
Breaking overnight, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern led a state memorial service for Queen Elizabeth II, saying the Pacific nation has had a deep connection with her as New Zealand paid tribute to the late monarch. Hundreds watched the state memorial service outdoors on the screens set on the Parliament grounds in Wellington, the national capital, as the closed-door ceremony began with a minute of silence at the Cathedral of St. Paul. The change in the British monarch has rekindled talks of republicanism within the country. 9,400 migrants have arrived in D.C. over the past 5 months, many needing food, baby formula, a place to sleep, and housing. The City Council passed legislation this week to create the Office of Migrant Services, allowing the mayor $10 million in contingency funds to provide asylum seekers with temporary housing, health care, and other services like food and education. The council promised to be back to work next month on long-term solutions. California firefighters are closing in on the mosquito fires ravaging the northern part of the state. Officials reported on Sunday that about 85% of those fires have been contained. That is more than 20%, a 20% jump in just the past couple of days, which is a big step for firefighter crews. As the fire continues to be contained, area schools are expected to reopen as well. In eastern Canada, more than 500,000 people were left without power after Fiona landed as a powerful post-tropical cyclone on Saturday. It's the same storm that hit Puerto Rico about a week ago. And as Bradley Blackburn reports, Florida is now preparing for the threat of another growing storm.
When it slammed into Canada Saturday, Fiona was no longer a hurricane, but it still packed a punch. Storm surge swept homes into the sea and forced many families to evacuate.
There are hundreds of people displaced right now. So the first step that's occurring is emergency shelter for those residents who are without a home.
The storm washed out roads and toppled trees and power lines, leaving 80% of residents in Nova Scotia without electricity.
There are live wires on some of these poles. We do not need people out just cruising around the streets.
In the Caribbean, recovery is still underway after Fiona struck last week. A team of 75 state troopers from New Jersey headed to Puerto Rico Saturday to assist with relief efforts. More than half of the island is still without power. And now Tropical Storm Ian is gathering strength with Florida in its sights next week. Already, people are stocking up on bottled water, lining up for gas, and filling up sandbags.
Hoping that it doesn't happen, but I've been through several. So just trying to get prepared ahead of time.
The National Hurricane Center says Ian could strengthen into a major hurricane, threatening western Florida and the Panhandle by the middle of next week.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has expanded a state of emergency to cover the entire state of Florida, and he has also activated the Florida National Guard. Well, back here closer to home, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is pushing back against critics who say he should have done more to stop a COVID-19 scheme. As News 8 Now reported last week, the Federal Department of Justice charged 47 people in Minnesota with crimes to defraud the U.S. government of at least $250 million. The governor said his administration spotted irregularities very early and alerted authorities, but Department of Education's hands were tied by a court order, and it had to resume payments to the suspects despite concerns. Minnesota police are investigating a shooting that injured two young men outside a Richfield High School football game last Friday evening. According to police, the shooting was reported at around 8:45 that night at the homecoming game at the Richfield High School football field. Officials say 2 shots were fired, injuring 2 young men. One was 18 and the other 21. Richfield school officials said there were extra safety precautions in place for the homecoming game. The investigation is still ongoing. The suspect of the Waukesha Christmas parade attack wants to represent himself. Darrell Brooks is charged with killing 6 people and injuring dozens more. His attorney, Jeremy Perry, has filed a motion to withdraw from the case, and Brooks wants the judge to allow him to represent himself at trial. That trial is scheduled to begin October 3rd. At least 70 Wisconsinites have been diagnosed with monkeypox. That is according to the latest update from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Since May of this year, monkeypox has been spreading from person to person in countries where the virus is usually not found, including right here in the U.S. Monkeypox virus is from the same family of viruses as the smallpox virus. If you receive the smallpox vaccine, researchers say you already have some protection.
There is a possibility that the childhood vaccine for smallpox will provide cross immunity or protection against monkeypox, but we don't know how much.
Symptoms of monkeypox include an unexplained rash that develops into hard, round fluid or pus-filled skin lesions. A virus is spreading that can kill dogs. Veterinarians are still working to determine what caused a recent outbreak of what they call parvovirus. There haven't been any cases reported in Wisconsin, but local vets say owners should still take precautions. Parvovirus is highly contagious. It spreads through dog feces and in some cases can be deadly. But according to the Onalaska Animal Hospital, it is preventable.
Actually is easily preventable through vaccinations, keeping your pet up to date on, getting vaccinated.
Dogs should receive the parvo vaccine as puppies. You can check with your vet to make sure your dog is up to date. Dental care is important, but it is not cheap. Dozens of people lined up in Onalaska on Friday morning to receive free dental care. Valley Dental offered a free dental day for the 10th year in a row. Doctors provided free cleanings and extractions of other preventative care on a first-come, first-served basis. Some people waited in line for several hours. Dr. Mike Gavin says many of the people in line come for the free care every year.
This is their only access to dental care is just one day, and they call months in advance, want to know when we're doing it. You know, you can't provide comprehensive dentistry, but you can take care of a dental problem.
Around 75 to 100 people were expected to show up on Friday to whiten their smile. Last week, the third week of September, also known as Asthma Peak Week, and that is because it is a week where doctors often see the most asthma attacks in the country. In fact, 25% of hospitalizations for kids with asthma generally happen around this time. Doctors say there are things you can do to avoid asthma triggers. If you have fall allergies to ragweed and mold, keep your windows closed. It is also critical to have an asthma action plan.
It basically has on there what you should do to monitor how you're feeling and how you're breathing, what areas you're falling into, and what you need to do if that happens.
Dr. Mendez, who you heard from there, also suggests you get a flu shot this fall to try and stay healthy. Coulee Region first responders are getting more than $2 million of federal grant money to better serve their communities. That money is coming from the federal government's American Rescue Plan Act. EMS services had to apply for those grants. The amount they receive is based on their specific needs. The state of Wisconsin in total is receiving $32 million in ARPA funds. These grants will help first responders avoid making difficult budget cuts.
These people are putting their lives on the line to keep us safe, and we owe them an obligation back to make sure that they are safe and that they have the tools available to save our lives.
The town of Shelby Fire Department is getting just over $37,000. That money they will use to buy a new CPR device and protective gear. We have a link to the full list of grant recipients at news8000.com.
Couple of scatter clouds out there now, but overall mostly clear with current temperature readings into the 40s and low 50s. It's 46 now in Eau Claire, 52 degrees the temperature now in La Crosse. High temperatures will reach 62 though today under partly cloudy but somewhat breezy conditions from those northwest winds at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. For tonight, 40 degrees and mostly clear. North-northwest winds lighter at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. As far as the boating forecast goes, a little bit chilly, 50s here and low 60s later into the afternoon around 3, 6 p.m. 60 degrees, mostly clear skies. As far as your drive-cast goes, looking mostly sunny for the morning and then cloudier skies potentially for your lunch hour, partly cloudy here for your evening commute. I'll be back with a final check on your full weather forecast next in weather. Jordan?
All right, thanks a lot, Derek. Well, coming up in your Buzz Report this Monday morning, an update to a story we brought to you last week. Music artist Post Malone, he's back in the hospital following a nasty fall during one of his concerts. We'll tell you what this means for some concert goers when we return.
Looking at clear skies now here in the Coulee region. In fact, in La Crosse, it's at 52 degrees with those clear skies and northwest winds at 16. Our river stage is at 5 feet this morning. Current readings are into the 40s and 50s. 46 in Eau Claire, a little cooler there, 50 degrees in Winona, and 46 in Sparta. Temperatures down south in Prairie du Chien and Boscobel into the mid-40s this morning. Highs will reach those upper 50s to low 60s with 60 today in Winona and 59 in Eau Claire. Highs reaching 57 degrees further south in Viroqua. A couple of scatter clouds out there now, but we may see some more cloud cover arrive as we head towards those later afternoon hours. But we're going to talk about the upper levels of the atmosphere now here for just a second. Got a very strong upper level jet stream here positioned over us, and we're thinking that those very strong upper level winds from that system will move across the upper Midwest today to allow us to see some occasionally gusty winds that you may notice mixing down to the surface today at around 15 to 20 miles an hour during the afternoon, settling down here for tonight. And then by tomorrow, those winds here out of the north are at around 10 to 15, not very strong there compared to today. and followed by mainly calm wind speeds as we head into midweek by Wednesday. 58 degrees and cloudy by noon today. Mostly cloudy though by 5, 61 degrees, and then by 9 o'clock you can expect clear conditions with a temperature of 51 degrees. Got a very strong low pressure system at the surface scooting on by. A couple of clouds and a light shower or two is possible as that system continues to rotate around near the area. Those clouds though should decrease by tonight into early tomorrow morning as well. And by the day Tuesday, we'll be looking at some leftover clouds still possible moving in across the region. And then by Tuesday night, those clouds should begin to clear out, giving us way to clear skies. High pressure, though, moves in as we head into Wednesday, helping to create sunny conditions and also much, or at least warmer temperatures, I should say, throughout the rest of the work week. Starting by Thursday, you'll notice a difference there, and then warming up into the 70s Friday and through the weekend. Highs reaching the 70s here for Monday and Tuesday with slightly increasing clouds there. Lows into the 40s and low 50s.
In our Buzz Report this morning, music and fashion icon Rihanna has been announced as the halftime performer at Super Bowl 57. Rihanna confirmed her participation with a tweet of a picture showing her hand holding an NFL football. The announcement came from Apple Music, which took over sponsorship from Pepsi. Sean Jay-Z Carter of Rock Nation will serve as executive producer for the show. The music and fashion icon will perform at Super Bowl 57 in February of next year. Actor and wrestling superstar John Cena has set a new Guinness record for Make-A-Wish. Cena now holds the record for most wishes granted. Through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, no other celebrity has granted more than 200 wishes. In the 42-year history of Make-A-Wish, John Cena now has granted wishes for, get this, 650 children. Cena is also the most requested celebrity for the nonprofit's Wish program. More difficult news for musician Post Malone. He is apologizing to fans after canceling his show on Saturday in Boston. The music star is recovering from a bruised rib injury he sustained while taking a nasty fall on stage last week in St. Louis. Malone took to social media on Saturday stating he was having trouble breathing and was feeling a stabbing sensation when he would move or breathe. Although canceled, Malone says his team is working on rescheduling his show. With that in mind, we have got some birthdays to celebrate this Monday morning.
That's right. We want to wish a happy birthday to Kylie, as she is turning 8 today. Kylie loves outdoor activities like swimming and camping.
Happy birthday, Kylie. We also want to wish a happy 8th birthday this morning to Kaylee. She loves to draw and read along with doing her makeup.
Happy birthday to Erilyn today. She is a creative and caring person who loves her family.
Happy birthday to everyone this morning. If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 80 years old, or 88 years old soon, you got to make sure you let us know.
Yeah, just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Well, you know the drill. We've got everything you need to know this morning in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Your Morning News Now on this Monday. A Republican candidate for Wisconsin Governor Tim Michels is changing his position on Wisconsin's abortion law. On Friday, Michels said if it came to his desk as governor, he would sign an abortion ban with exceptions for rape and incest. Previously, Michels said he would not support exceptions. Republican candidate for Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District says his experience as a small business owner makes him uniquely qualified for the job. During a small business roundtable, Derek Van Orden said local employers face too many challenges. Van Orden says rising inflation is crippling some small businesses. The Republican says that his experience with ownership will help him write business-friendly policies. September is National Atrial Fibrillation Awareness Month, otherwise known as AFib, and Mayo Clinic Health System is highlighting a relatively new procedure to reduce the risk of stroke in patients who have AFib. During AFib, the heart is beating irregularly, and there's an increased risk of blood clots inside the heart. And if that clot breaks loose, there's a risk of stroke. The Watchman device is inserted into the heart and blocks off an area where those clots can form.
Designed to plug off one of the structures called the left atrial appendage. Left atrial appendage is like a small sac attached to the left atrium. And that's where the atrial fibrillation usually comes from, and that's where the blood clots usually come from.
The device can be inserted during a same-day procedure and is not considered a high-risk surgery. Members of the community broke a sweat on the 17th annual American Cancer Society Soul Burner in Chaseburg. The 1-mile walk event brought in people from across the state. People could take the walk and enjoy the vendors, live music, and each other's company. The event was a chance for the community to celebrate survivors and honor those lost.
Looking at mainly cool but also partly cloudy conditions here for today with somewhat breezy conditions as well. Highs reaching those low 60s.
Over the weekend, area artists took their brushes to the Bluffs at a quick paint competition. The Plein Air Painters set up on Grandad Bluff, where they got 2 hours to paint the landscape. This is part of the Between the Bluffs Plein Air Art Show. Organizers say 2 hours is a quick session, but these artists are experts at capturing what they see on canvas.
It's a pretty fun event, but it also takes a high level of skill to complete a painting in that length of time. You'd be surprised at how professional the paintings look in that time period.
We have plenty of talent in this community. If you would like to see these paintings and more, they are on display at Studio Gallery 1311 on Market Street. We have hours where you can view them at news8000.com.
And as you head out the door, might want to bring that light jacket with you. Temperatures in at least those low 50s. Cloudy skies by noon today, partly cloudy later in the day. Northwest winds slightly breezy at 10 to 20.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.